welcome to Violette Yarn and Gift Co. Shopcast knitting podcast. We are located in beautiful Bouctouche, New Brunswick on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's a beautiful, beautiful country, super welcoming, so welcome. Welcome if you are a new viewer, and welcome back to the viewer who were here last time for episode 1. I was absolutely overwhelmed and thankful and grateful for everyone's supportive comments and encouraging me to come back and post a second episode. So thank you so much for your kind words, your kindness. It really, really made my day. So we are here again, and it's a beautiful winter day today, even though it's a little mild. The weather has been like a yo-yo going up and down. So without further ado, this Shopcast is primarily on giving you tips and tricks that I wish I knew. So let's start with the first one. All right, so this podcast is primarily geared to share with you tips and tricks that I wish I knew. And I'm going to start with the first one today for episode 2. So if you've ever knitted a garment from the top down, you may have experienced holes where you join, and I'm going to show you how to avoid these holes. So let me show you my beautiful April cardigan. It looks done this way, but I still have a whole sleeve to go. I'm extremely pleased with it. So hopefully the next time that you're here, I can be wearing it. And I'm hoping that it is going to be before St. Patrick's Day, because everybody's saying, is that your St. Patrick's Day cardigan? And yes, I guess it will be. So yes, so the first tips I'm going to share with you, and it's going to be a little hard to see, but I'm sure you'll understand what I mean. When you do a top-down cardigan, you put your sleeves on hold and then you continue the body. The designer will ask you to cast on a certain number of stitches and then do the body. So you have to do that first. So for example, if you have to cast on 8 stitches, once you're done and then you're ready to put your sleeve back on your needle, the designer will say, pick up 8 stitches. It's basically 1 stitches for every one that you've cast on previously to do the body. So what I do to avoid those holes that people usually get here and here is I cast on an extra stitch on each side of the sleeve. So here she will say cast on 4 stitches. I cast on 5. And then I'll put a stitch marker in the middle here that helps me guide me, and then I'll cast on 4 plus 1 again, so I'll cast on 5, knit the stitches all the way around, and then when you come back, now you have an extra stitch. So how we're going to deal with that is you're going to do on this side, I like to do an SSK to get a left leaning stitch. So I will take the 6th stitch, so the first stitch that was on your sleeve originally, plus the new stitch that you've cast on, and you're going to do those together as an SSK or a knit 2 together. It's under the sleeve, who cares, nobody's going to see it. So you do this here, then you're going to keep knitting to the marker, you're going to knit 4 stitches, and then you're going to do knit 2 together. So the 5th stitch, the extra one that you've cast on, plus the first one that is on the sleeve, and voila, it gives you a beautiful finish, and you don't need to fiddle with the holes. Yeah, so sometimes I just think that everybody knows this. And the other day I was traveling with my friend Janet, and we're on the train, and she says to me, how do you deal with the holes in your mittens when you cast on the thumb? And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, you can use this technique as well when you do your, oh, I wish I had a mitten to show you, when you do your thumb gusset. So you usually put a certain number of stitches on hold, then you finish your mittens, then you pick up those stitches back on your live stitches back on needles, and then you cast on. Well, if it tells you to cast on 6, cast on the next one on each side and do the same thing, and you avoid those holes. So to make sure that you don't have holes, when you do start your sleeve and you join your yarn, leave yourself a tail long enough that you can weave and hide those holes. That's another way that you can do it. So tip number 2, since I have my beautiful cardigan here, let's keep going. You see all those beautiful little stitch marker I have here. So the reason I do this is because I get distracted very easily. So when I have to do a decrease, and usually most designer or people will say knit 1, knit 2 together, knit around 2-3 stitches, SSK, knit 1. So this is your decrease. So as soon as I have my decrease row, I will knit 1 and put this little stitch marker on it. Because if I get distracted mid-round, when I come back and I see that stitch marker there, I'll be like, oh, I need to do my SSK, or I forgot to do my SSK. I go back 3 stitches, no big deal. So yes, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit around, SSK, knit 1, and then you've got your decrease. So also it's very easy to count how many rows, and I don't need to have my book open, I don't need to write it, I can just count the stitches. Oh, 8 rows, next decrease round, and so on. So, and also once I start my second sleeve, I'll be able to make sure I have the same number of decreases, and my sleeve will match. So that was tips number 2 for today. Yay! Well, what am I wearing today? So it's funny, I always feel like it's a little dirty to say to someone, what are you wearing? Good thing I'm not on the phone. So I am wearing this beautiful, beautiful V-neck pullover, which is becoming my favorite. It's like a sweatshirt. It's super soft. I really adore it. So I've knitted this in the Julie Asselin boucle. We are extremely fortunate here in the East Coast to be one of the only retailer that carries Julie Asselin. Her boucle yarn is something else. It's absolutely wonderful, and I can tell you the composition is made of 70% alpaca and 30% Highland Peruvian wool. So yes, it's absolutely stunning. Little difficult to knit with. So the first time I've ever knit with it, I'm going to come back to my sweater in a minute, is I had knitted the Mouton Noir. Hello. The Mouton Noir by Espace Tricot is a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And if you've never knitted with boucle, this is the way to go first. When I first started this hat, I had a love and hate relationship with the yarn because my Knitter's Pride 4.5 is black, and this yarn is very dark. It's called Mouton Noir, this color, black sheep, and I had a hard time seeing the stitches. So I switched to my copper Likey, and I had no issue at all. Loved it so much that I looked for another pattern to do with my Julie Asselin boucle, and voila, this is called Tendre, and it is by, I'm probably not going to say that properly, but her name is Paula Wisniewska, and she goes on Ravelry by Polka Knits, and she's a great designer. This is a top down, and again, I have no holes because I did my extra stitches on each side. What did I do for modification on this pattern? If you look at this pattern online, it has a ribbed trim right here, and I didn't do it. So once I was done, I thought that the opening was a little small, and I don't like anything in my neck. So I decided to try it on, and I like it just like this. So I'll see how it wears. Maybe I'll pick up stitches and do a little bit of a ribbing at some point, but I really like the way it is right now. So I'm probably gonna keep it just the way it is. And I did another modification. I don't know if we'll be able to see. So I did a few short row at the back. I use a German short row technique, and just to bring it down a little bit on my bottom. And yeah, so this is one of my latest FO in 2022. I think I finished it in December, and I really, really like it. So if you never knit it with boucle, give it a try. You may really like it. The texture of the yarn in the skein is different than the texture once it's knitted up. It is so soft. It's like wearing a cloud, and I am in cloud 9. Ooh. Yeah, so one of my latest FO I'm gonna put it on. Is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hat by Ysolda. Yeah, it's called the Leith Hat, and she's an amazing pattern designer. This hat could be knitted. It's a great beginner hat because it can be knitted flat or it can be knitted in the round. And she also gives you instruction to actually knit it with a provisional cast on, so which I've done. And the brim is a double brim, and then when you, hey, where are you? And when you fold it, it becomes a triple layer brim, which is super warm, super cozy. So I've knitted the whole hat with a skein of color Sherwood, and it's Julie Eslin Lizu Decay. So the composition of this yarn is 90% superwash merino and 10% silk. It's super luxurious. It's beautiful. We have a lot of color in stock, so check it out. And you can make yourself a beautiful hat with this yarn. Yeah, so what else is next? Let's talk about sleeve knitting. I used to knit my sleeve on double pointed needles, and I didn't really enjoy it. And the reason I didn't enjoy it because sometimes, and this you wouldn't see it because boucle is extremely forgiving. But in stockinette stitches, I found that using DPN needles gives me a little bit of ladder. So what I do now is I have not one, not two, but 3 of these amazing Xiaogu sets. And we are an official Canadian distributor for Xiaogu. Retailer, not distributor, sorry. We buy from the distributor, and yes, so we are an official retailer. So these sets are absolutely a must-have, and they come with 3 size of wire, and they're very, very short. So I use those to knit my mittens, my sleeves, my socks, everything that has a small circumference. I use these magic, they're not magic glue, but they're magic needles to me. I just love it so much. And every time you buy a set, except for the yellow set, they come in 2 different lengths. Here you go. I'm going to show you this a little bit closer. So you have the shorter one, the 2-inch set. Like this one, for example, is a 3.75 millimeter, which is a US 5. And then you also have the same US 5, 3.75 in a 3-inch length. So it's absolutely a must-have. So I do not ever need to use either magic loop, which I don't really like the technique, but I have nothing to say against it. I'm having a hard time with it, and I prefer circular. It's easier for me. Yeah, I think I've just lost my train of thoughts, but that's okay, that happens. And yeah, so I do like to use those needles. So another thing that I have done lately is I decided this year that I was going to learn a new craft that involved yarn. So I have taken up rug hooking. So yeah, I go on Tuesday and meet the hookers, and I'm having a great time. Everybody is amazing and welcoming. So if you're watching from the group, hello, I'll see you next Tuesday, hooker. So I started this little project, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's not as easy as it looks, mostly that I'm not using the right weight, but this is the color that I wanted to use. So it's a fleur-de-lis, and yeah, I just love the fleur-de-lis. I have one on my motorcycle, and I have one on my skin, and yes, I just like everything fleur-de-lis. And I'm going to show you the yarn that I've chosen. The blue is a Briggs & Little soft spun, and it's called Northern Lights. It's got some really nice variation here of colors, so that's really fun. I don't know if you knew that, but Briggs & Little has a soft spun line, and it's not itchy at all. It's really soft, and yes, of course, it's double the price because everything that you do treat and you put more effort and time to achieve a finished product, the price goes up. So yeah, this one is $18 a skein as opposed to a $7.40 skein of Regal. And we have it in, oh, wait a minute. This is not only soft spun, but it's also hand dyed. So these one are hand dyed, they're soft spun, so the price goes up. We have it in the natural color. This one is the Briggs & Little soft spun in cream color, and this one's only $9. So it's undyed, so no extra process except to make it soft and cozy. Yes, so what else can I tell you today? Well, I hope you enjoy it. It's very short and sweet. I do speak fast. I'm going to make a big effort to not speak so fast. And I wanted to show you the buttons that I'm hoping to put on my cardigan. So these are little tiny buttons. Ooh, there you are. I don't know if you can see it really nice. That perfect. So these are made of non-lead pewter, and they are made right here in New Brunswick by a team of ladies that goes under Atlantic Pewters, and they're local. They melt the pewter, they make the mold, they pour it and polish everything. So these buttons range from $4 to $5.25 a button, but they are definitely one of a kind and worth it. And this one has a little bit of a Celtic design. Oh, yeah, a Celtic design, and it will be perfect on my St. Patrick's sweater. So I haven't said it at this episode, but this is the April cardigan by PetiteKnit, and I did not do the double knit button band like I wanted to because I thought it was going to take too long. You know what took really long is to do the sewn bind off all the way around. So yes, I should have done the double knit button band like I wanted to, but maybe the next one. And yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like, you can come back next time for episode 3. I'm also starting, before I go, I'm starting a series that will be called Meet the Person Behind, and I have my first New Brunswick designer coming onto the episode very, very shortly, this month anyway, in February. If everything goes well, if we don't have a storm, ice storm, pellet storm, whatever storm is happening. And yeah, so we are going to ask Simone how she started her business of designing garments. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you'll be joining us. So this is it for me. Stay warm, guys. Stay healthy, be kind, and talk to you soon.